Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Al Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash, Shalom to the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3, was the Apostle Paul referring to 70 AD. So as you know or should know, that the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Peter, and the rest of the apostles except for John were taken out. Apostle Paul had his head chopped off. I spoke about that a little bit in the video I did last night. And the Apostle Peter was crucified. He demanded that he be crucified upside down because he said he's not worthy to be crucified like his Lord and Savior was crucified. And if you go into the history, secular history or whatever at that time, it's in the history. It's not in the scriptures that Paul was found guilty of ultimately sedition. He spoke against the Roman, like the Roman Empire is going to be taken over by this king, which is Yahweh Shai. So Romans are, carnal people. So they took it as, a takeover, a coup, some military force coming in and taking over the Romans. That's how they looked at it. They didn't look at things with a spiritual eye. So when the apostles were talking about the coming of the Lord and the new kingdom, well, in order for there to be a new kingdom, the old kingdom's got to be taken out. Revelation 21, the first two verses. The first heaven and the first earth was taken away, and there was a new heaven and a new earth. I'm merely paraphrasing. So Esau takes things physical. That's why when they come after you, they want to get you going to the gun range. So it's stupid that any Israelite group goes to a gun range, because you see Edomites somewhere anywhere in the South or in the Bible Belt. They're at the shooting range. They got the kids shooting. Jake looks at that as a threat. So if Jake's doing that, Esau's looking at that as a threat. Everything that the Romans did, they looked at it on a physical level. They didn't understand the concept of the Most High. They had their gods, their Greco-Roman gods. For you clown-ass Christians, you fake Christians, because we got to start using fake Christians because they're not the real Christians. Vocab Malone is a fake Christian. Any of these God Logic and David Woods and all the rest of them, Dr. James White, the Edomite, they're fake Christians. They're not real Christians. Because the real Christians, first of all, like I just mentioned, like Jakes that follow after that fake Christian and that Antichrist, Vocab Malone, those are Jakes. So what makes them fake Christians? Because they're following a fake Christianity. It's Esau's Christianity. They're talking about, well, Christianity came to Africa first. No, the Christians that were outside of the Levant were Israelites that followed the Messiah. In order for you to qualify to be a Christian, a true Christian, you have to be an Israelite, and really you have to be one of the elect. So anyway, I said, let me go to the chat. I'm on my other computer, by the way. Let me go to the chat, and let me put in, and as you can see it right there, First Thess 2 verse 3 was the Apostle Paul referring to 7 AD. And by the way, 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3. You got 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, Ephesians. You got all these different books Colossians, which a lot of those books are prophetic books as well. We don't call them prophetic books, we call them letters, but there's prophecies in those letters. Did not the Apostle Peter, when he went into his letters, especially the second um, epistle of Peter, did not he prophesy? Did not he prophesy? And I'm just going to pull out a verse. Well, it's all over the first Peter's and second Peter's. He prophesied. They were letters, but they were prophecies. He saw the destruction too. He saw Babylon the Great being hit by fire. So Thessalonians, so First Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians, mainly Second Thessalonians and Second Thessalonians, the second chapter. That's a prophetic breakdown right there. That's the series that I use, hermeneutics. When you look up the word hermeneutics, it means pretty much it means to interpret scripture, mainly prophetical scriptures, verses, chapters. Anyway, and we're in the time of prophecy, man. The testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Revelation 19 and 10. I believe it's the 10th verse. I went over it yesterday. It's got to be the 10th verse. It is the 10th verse. So this is a prophecy too. So the answer, let's see what the answer is. Was the Apostle Paul referring to 7 AD? And this is 7 AD all over again. It says, let no man deceive you in any way. That's ESV. I'm in the chat. For that day will not come unless the rebellion come first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. The word perdition is in the King James, but it means destruction. Who's the son of destruction? Esau and the Edomites, Esau's children. And that destruction is when this system goes out. When you go to Daniel 7 and it speaks about the burning beast, that's the second leg of the Roman Empire. So all the prophets saw that. They saw fire come down and destroy this place. Did not the prophecy say, I went into it yesterday about, I believe that was in Zechariah, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's Zechariah or Haggai, but it was speaking about Zerubbabel, how the Most High said before this mountain, which is this system, the mountain represents Babylon itself and the system. He said, it's gonna become a plain. It's gonna become a flat. He's gonna flatten that mountain. He's gonna take that mountain out. He's gonna rip it out the frame, so to speak. Because when Babylon is totally destroyed, the whole system is gonna crash. And part of the destruction is gonna come from the system, from the NATO and EU nations that possess these long-range missiles. So they're worrying about China and Russia. You better be worrying about Pakistan and Iran and these NATO and EU nations that possess these missiles, because they're going to come against you as well. It says this verse is part of a larger passage, 2 Thessalonians 2. And like I said, I have to go. I may even go into it, on this sit down. You really got to read from the first verse to the last verse. There's a lot of heavy information in this, and it's spoken with Paul is speaking with a prophetic tongue. He's saying what's going to happen, and he was talking about now because The people at that time, when Yahushua died, they doubted. They said, oh, we thought he was a Messiah. That's in Luke 24. Read the whole book of Luke 24. Then he cursed them out. Then he showed them the precepts. He said, look, let's go back to the Old Testament. This is talking about me. One of the precepts that he showed them was, what is it, Psalm 22, where it says in Psalm 22, he's going to be hung up, he's going to be crucified. And dogs are going to be around him looking at him, meaning them Edomites. So let me go on. It says this verse is part of a larger passage, 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 1 to 12. Give me a second here. Okay, so I know why why the chat mentioned 1 to 12. Okay, let me read the 12th verse. It says that they all might be damned or destroyed who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. That's you 2/3 of Jake's 11th verse, reading backwards. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. So you got these Israelites that we use it. We always here we go talking about the mark of the beast, the microchip, and it's overwhelming. Esau is talking about it. Esau been talking about it. The ones that the Israelites that can't see it, the Most High close your eyes. It said, and for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they may believe a lie. So your teachers, your master teachers tell you, oh no, that's talking about sin in all of its forms. That's and the Most High, put it in your head and your eyes not to see it. Most High programmed you to believe what your false teacher told you. You're gonna every last one of you gonna believe when it comes. When it's time for you to go get that chip, that's when you're gonna see it, and that's when you're gonna see that your master teacher was a false prophet. Let's hope that those teachers repent. I want to look up the word delusion. It says believe a lie. Delusion. Delusion is the word worth. Let me, this is in the Greek.
Strong's G 4106. Plane.
Plane. A wandering, a straying about. What does that mean? You're looking for answers. You joined the GMS camp and you believed it, and then all of a sudden you're questioning it. I don't know if this the real camp. I don't even know if we Israelites. A lot of these brothers and some sisters, when they fall out, you know what they do? They go right back to Christianity. They get in contact with Vocab Malone, and they spill the tea. It says one led astray from the right way, which is the truth. That's in Isaiah, what is that? Isaiah 30, verse 20. You shall hear a voice behind thee when thou turnest to the left or the right. I'm merely paraphrasing. And we are that voice. It says one led astray. If you're led astray, that means you were going the right path. And somebody said, oh no, you're going the wrong path. Meanwhile, you're going in the right path. I tell you, no, go this way. Somebody says, no, that's the wrong path. You listen to them, you're going to go astray. That's why we do not, us here in GMS, we do not engage in debates. We do not have we're not here to entertain you. That's a form that whole debating thing is entertainment. That's all it is. Captain Desariak is nothing but an entertainer because he doesn't have the whole truth. He has truth, but he doesn't have the whole truth. If he had the whole truth, he would say, if they would ask him a question about the mark of the beast being a microchip, is that the case? He would say no. So, and I just use him as an example because you got a lot of brothers. What in the hell are you debating with vocab and God logic? Do you really think they're gonna say having a experience in a eureka moment, an epiphany, and say, you know what, you right, I'm an Israelite, or vocab saying, you know what, you right, I'm an Edomite? They're not gonna say that. They're not gonna say that. So why? Okay, we're gonna have a debate about the debate for what? For what purpose? Other than to entertain stupid people. Mental strain. Through the years, you can go back and check the record. When GMS started in I would say the last week or the last week of July of 2007, you had a lot of men and women come in, and hundreds of men have went back out. There was men and women too, but men mainly because they became teachers, and a lot of them became great teachers, and then they became disenchanted for whatever reason, and they went back. They did their own thing. We're gonna do our own thing, and you know what your own thing is? Your own thing is setting up your own camp, and then you running out of gas. That's that oil. You didn't have extra oil, so the fire went out. So I don't know where the hell you are. You know, you curse us out, call us all kind of names, or we this, we fall. Hey, these guys that fall off and they set up their own thing, they don't got they ain't got they don't say nothing about Esau. They won't go to the Edomite scriptures. They don't talk about Babylon being the US being destroyed. They don't talk about the Edomites. They don't talk about the other camp. If they was in GMS, they're not going to talk about ISUPK, IUIC. They're not going to come against Christianity. Guess who they're going to come against? The men of GMS starting from the leadership on down. So you know the nigga ain't right. And you guys, and I've been saying this for the last couple of days, I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'm going to continue to sound like a broken record. All of you guys that fell off or got kicked out, and if you got kicked out, you should have kept teaching. You should have kept teaching. You could have said, well, I'm no longer with GMS, I'm doing my own thing, but they do have the truth. And I pray that I'm an elect, and I pray that I can get back in GMS. You don't have to be in GMS to have the truth, though. And recently you had a brother, he's no longer in this circle, you know. And I see other guys from GMS, certain guys that's just not gonna make it. That demons in them, that demon of doubt. So don't be don't be pussyfied. Just go ahead and leave. If you don't want to be with us, we don't want you around us. It says error, wrong opinion relative to morals or religion, spiritual subjects. Error, which shows itself in action, a wrong mode of acting, error, that which leads into error, deceit, or fraud. So if you leave, we're going to keep going. Strong delusion that they may believe a lie. The mark of the beast is sleeping with white women. That's a strong delusion. The mark is talking about sin in all of its forms, whether it be religious or political. That's straight up bullshit. What does this dude Nate goes? He goes to Job. Where is it? I believe it's Job 14 and 10 or 10 and 14. Let's see. He got to add new scriptures to fortify that lie that the mark of the beast is not the microchip. Don't listen to them GMS bums. Okay, this might be it. Job 10 and 14. Let's see if I'm correct. Look, we don't lose sleep when you fall out. If you ain't right and you fall out, we don't lose sleep. We don't hope that you come back in. Okay, this is it. Job 10 verse 14. And this is a precept that uh, Bishop Nathaniel uses to back up Revelation 13 and 16. And he says the mark is sin. He said the mark is sin in all of its forms. We're going to get back into the main subject. And we're going to talk about Nero 47. If I sin, meaning you took the mark, then thou marketh me, and thou wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity. Well, Bishop Nathaniel, he says the mark is sin. But here, Job is saying, if I sin, then thou marketh me. First of all, this word mark right here, the word mark in Revelation 13 and 16 is charagma, a physical thing. Let's look this word up. Let's see if it means a physical thing. If I sin, meaning you took the mark, how can you take the mark and then get the mark? Mark is me. I already know what it is. The Hebrew word Shema means to watch. If I sin, the Most High watches you, and then He'll take you out. That's what it means to watch. Shamar means to watch. Mark, watchman, watch, regard, beware, right? So anyway, let's come back over here. So the ones of you that can't see it, because you're listening to your master teachers, your fake master teachers, you might not still see it when it comes. And your master teacher might say, no, go ahead and get it. You ain't going off. Like I said, that's going to be a major, and we keep saying that, as the apostle from South Kakalaki, use Kakalaki. He says, this is Tahar's favorite subject. Yeah, you can say that. It's one of my favorite subjects. I go into a lot of prophecy, prophetic scripture, because we're in that time. Habakkuk 2. What is that? Ecclesiasticus 39. And that you be occupied in prophecy. 1 Corinthians 14, the first couple of verses. But rather that ye prophesy. That's a greater gift than charity. 1 Corinthians 13 talk about the greatest gift is charity. Paul said, no, greater gift than that is prophecy. Not speaking in tongues, not charity, but prophecy. Let's just come on back. There's all I can go for the next 10 hours just on this subject right here. Just on this subject right here. Second Thessalonians, the second chapter, is a heavy book. Anyway, so let's go ahead and read. And we know who the man of lawlessness is. This verse is part of a larger passage, Second Thessalonians 2, verse 1 to 12, where the Apostle Paul is correcting misunderstandings about the timing of the day of the Lord. Because they said, oh, he's going to come in. He already risen, so he's going to come back and get us. Just like we looking for the Lord to come, he coming in our time. 2,000 years ago, they were on the highways and the byways cursing people out, talking about they're going into slavery and all that. We're going to be in the kingdom. We're going to have crowns on our head. And the people hated us. Because when you go into the history as to why Claudius kicked out the Jews and the Christians, and then later his son, Nero, which we got Nero's back with us again. That's Nero. That's definitely Nero. He looked like Nero. He does. I'm not snapping. Look up a bust of Nero, lining up with the Nero 47. And he said he was coming back. I recently found out about that. He said, I'm coming back. He committed suicide, but he said, I'm coming back. It says likely a reference to the return of the Messiah and final judgment. Because they wasn't thinking that we're going to die, we're going to come back, we're going to die, we're going to come back. You got the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, you got the Byzantine Empire, you got the sacking of, Byzantium by the Turks. You got Christopher Columbus taking down Gad and the Northern Kingdom tribes. You got the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28 and 68, them coming and putting us in ships. The what do they call it? The triangle. It's called the triangle trade. It's not just the triangle slave trade. It's the triangle trade. Why they called it from the triangle trade? They went from places like Spain, Europe, different places, Europe, England, and so forth. They went from, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me do this. Yeah, I was watching a video that the General Johanna had with Jake Shields, which is a UFC fighter. He's retired, but he has his own podcast. So General Johanna was a guest, and he was kind of hinting that he didn't tell him straight up that he's an Edomite, but he looks like an Edomite, but he could be a Jake. Because I was looking up his name. Shield goes back to a warrior would have a shield. It means loosely translated means warrior, lineage of warriors. But shield is the shield that you use in battle. You got the sword and the shield. So it goes back to Gaelic. So this guy has to be of Irish descent. So and he's looking for truth. So I would have told him. I said, yeah, you could be an Israelite. You could be an Israelite. Your line goes back to what? To the Irish, the Scottish. You guys are quick to look at somebody look like an Edomite. You an Edomite, and you're an idiot. You're an idiotite. So I'm sorry. So let me do this. What I said I was gonna do. Forgive me for rambling. What I said I was gonna do. I'm sorry. Let me come on back. Let me come on back and refresh my memory. Likely reference to the judgment. I'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. It said, now to your question. Was Paul referring to 70 AD? Short answer, possibly, but not definitively, excuse me. There are differing views depending on one's eschat- eschatological perspective. Eschatological is the end of all things, the end, like end time prophecies. You got this guy William Bell saying everything in the scriptures took place already. Revelation, Luke 21, all that took place already. So that means we're in the kingdom. This is a messy kingdom. It says, interpretive view, preterist view, yes, refers to 70 AD. Right, because that's what Paul was talking about, but he was also talking about now. He said, don't get, matter of fact, I'm sorry, let me come back over here. It says, for second Thessalonians 2, verse 1, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushai. Right here is Kairos, which means superior, Yahushai, Hamashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as the as that the day of the Messiah is at hand. Because their thing was he's coming now, he's coming in our lifetime. So it was people that was faithful to the word and the coming of the Lord, and they got old and died. Then you had younger people come up in their place, and they got old and died. Then they had to go through the, through the Middle Ages. Well, actually, we was in rulership, and we had to go into slavery. Oh, it came back. Slavery. See, that was a key trigger word. So it's not called the triangle slave trade. It's called a triangle trade. Triangle trade, meaning triangular trade, meaning triangular trade was a historical transatlantic network, because they were going through the right here. If you go to maps, I'll open up a map in a minute. This was Europe, England, Spain. It was all up in here, Germany. And they went, the first stop that they made was down here. They had goods, traded it with the dark people, let's say, gathered up slaves, and they went from here to the Americas, dropped the slaves off, got other um, commodities, then it went back. So they were doing that for a number of years. It was a business. See, slaves were commodity back then. So it says triangle trade was a historical Deuteronomy 28:68. Deuteronomy 28:68. Triangle trade was a historical transatlantic network connecting Europe, Africa, and the Americas from the 16th, which is 1500s. Anytime you see the 16th century, it's the 1500s. The 17th century is the 1600s. So the slave trade, the first black African slaves, as they say, black African slaves went to the Dominican Republic and to the island of Hispaniola. So these Dominicans, you tell them that they're African, they ain't gonna, I ain't no probably me no African, man. They gonna be black as hell. You know what I mean? Me no African, man. You tell, and I've run into Dominicans. Oh, I'm gonna tell them one day. I don't get a chance to. I'll say, y'all know, y'all motherfuckers. Y'all know y'all Africans, right? Y'all know y'all black Africans. I don't give a damn how much dippity do you put in your hair. That you dippity do was a grease. There was a company named Dippity Doo. This is before your time. The niggas used to put that Dippity Doo in their hair to make it straight and conch. That's what the Simeonites are doing. They putting conch in their hair. Anyway, from the 16th to the 19th century, that's the 1800s centuries, involving the exchange of goods, raw materials, and enslaved people, which are Israelites, fulfilling Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Its three main legs involve European manufactured goods going to Africa, enslaved Africans, which are the Israelites, being forcibly transported. Like you got these people that's trying to change history. Oh no, they were immigrants. They wanted to come here and work. Okay, well, guess what? You're going to be immigrants too, and you're going to work in our kingdom. And part of your job is getting a foot lodged up in your ass sideways. Enslaved Africans being forcibly transported to the Americas to work on plantations. Another word for plantation is a farm. America became great and rich through the slave trade. That's why we asking. You got Tariq Nasheed asking for reparation. Well, you're not going to get reparation because Esau ain't going to give it to you. He'll die before you give reparations. And he don't really got reparations. This economy's fucked up. So the reparations are going to come when we put your ass in captivity. So you don't got to give us a fucking dime. And raw materials like sugar, cotton, and tobacco being sent back to Europe. That's why it was called the triangular trade. Let's go to the images. Here's a good one. They set sail from Europe, went into West Africa. From Africa, they went to the Americas. They traded the slave for more goods, and they came back. So this was an ongoing thing for years. We talking like 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. So let me come back over here now. So the Israelites during the time of Paul's time, they were thinking the Lord was going to come back because he rose from the dead. They didn't know that they would have to suffer, drink the cup. And it's a damn shame when you got people that come into Israel and they see all this, then when they leave, the spirit the Most High just takes the spirit from them. They don't say, I'm not an Israelite. I thought a lot of them, I used to be an Israelite. I'm no longer. How can you no longer be an Israelite? Anyway, okay, they may interpret the man of the Lord in this. Let me read this again. I'm sorry. Preterist view. Yes, return to 70. Refers to 70 AD. Let's go to preterists. We're futurists. Give me a second. Definition of futurist. Preterist. I'm sorry. A preterist is a person who believes that biblical prophecies about the end times have already been fulfilled. So, eschatologists and preterists is pretty much the same. Right, primarily in the first century, referring to events like the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. This view is rooted in the Latin word praeter, meaning past, there are two main forms: uh, partial preterism, which holds that not uh, most, but not all prophecies have been fulfilled, and full preterist, which claims all such prophecies are in the past. That's also a eschatologist. So we're not eschatologists. So now I'm sorry. Let me come on back here. Preterist view, yes, refers to 70 A.D. Preterists believe many prophecies in the New Testament, including in Revelation and Thessalonians, were fulfilled. So you mean to tell me everything that John on the Isle of Patmos saw the visions and wrote down already took place, fulfilled in the first century, particularly in the events surrounding the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. So if you deal with a preterist or a eschatologist, you go in the book of Revelation and say, when did this happen? Revelation 17, Revelation 18, Revelation 10. When did this happen? And they said, what did they say? Okay, let me see something. They said everything took place in the first century. But wait a minute, John was received prophecies. This was in the 90s, or almost 100 A.D. So how can all these prophecies, including Revelation, all the prophecies in the Bible, come to pass when John was receiving prophecies 20 to 30 years after 70 A.D.? This is why we don't get into discussion with Christians. If you're a Christian, you want to learn, you ask questions, and then eventually you should come around to the fact that you an Israelite. We ain't got nothing to tell God logic. Don't come around us. We ain't got nothing to tell you. We don't want to discuss nothing. We don't want to debate nothing. In order for you to come into this, you got to denounce that fake ass Christianity. It says they may interpret the man of lawlessness as referring to a figure like Nero Caesar. A figure like Nero, the man of lawlessness, is Nero Caesar. So Nero Caesar is back. He said he's coming back. Look it up if you don't believe me. He said, I'm coming back before he killed himself. A figure like Nero, who persecuted Christians, he's persecuting Christians right now, Israelites, code for Israelites, and claimed divine honors. Didn't he say that? The Most High chose him. And the Most High did chose him. He wasn't lying about that. As Arsenio Hall said in the movie Coming to America, he ain't lying. It says, or a corrupt Jewish high priest or leader who opposed the Messiah and the early church, the rebellion, Greek apostata, apost, apostasia, which is apostate. Or an apostate is a person that comes to this truth, or Israelite, and that goes back in the world. He's an apostate. Could refer to the Jewish revolt 66 to 70 AD. Now, 66 AD, Nero is still living. Nero committed suicide in 68 AD. Titus was a general, top general under Nero. So when Nero committed suicide, guess who? Guess who came? Well, actually, it was four. That was the year of the four emperors. Look that up. You had Galba, Otho, Vitalis, which I believe it was Otho, if I'm not mistaken, Otho or Galba. One of them got put to death by the Praetorian Guard. When you had a bugged out, crazy, uh, out of control Caesar, guess who took him out? The military, the Praetorian, the generals, the Praetorian Guard. And they were saying that I believe it was God. The first one was getting him. You know what? Let me do this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I want to get it right. Year of the four emperors. Okay, so there they go. One of them was a Jake. Let me do this. Who are the four emperors? Okay, let's do this. Okay, boom. The term four emperors most commonly refers to the four Roman emperors. Galba, he was put to death by the Praetorian Guard, which I believe at that time was led by Titus. Otho had a dream that they were going to kill him, so he said, I'm going to beat you to it. I'm going to kill myself. Or he had a dream that he killed himself and woke up and killed himself with a sword. And I believe he was a Jake, because Jake was up in there. Vitellius was supposedly put to death by Vespasian. I was saying Titus, I meant Vespasian, the father of Titus. And then he became the emperor, and nobody put him to death because he was supposedly behind these two getting killed. And this guy, they wanted to kill him anyway. It says Emperor 69 AD, following Nero's death. These rapid changes in leadership occurred amidst civil war and marked a pivotal transition from the Julio Claudian dynasty to the Flavian dynasty. And then you even have busts of them. Let me do this. Go to images. Hey, this is bugged out. I ain't showing no. The hell is this? Okay, here we go. That's what they supposedly look like. They ain't showing you. These Google's going off, man. They showing you this cartoon stuff. Okay, let's try this one. And these supposed to be actual busts. And you can clearly see that they're Edomites. Okay, so let's come on back. So everything's there. You can go to the chat. You can go to Google. You can go to Google AI. Okay, so now this is okay, rebellion, Greek apostate, Jewish revolt against, and they revolted against Rome because they were taxing the hell out, like just like we're being taxed now against Rome, which culminated culminated in the destruction of the temple. A futurist view. No refers to a future antichrist. Many evangelical Christians, especially premillennialists, see this as a prophecy yet to be fulfilled. And we say that too. They interpret the man of law. So we will be considered premillennialists and also futurists. It says they interpret the man of lawlessness as the future antichrist, which there's no one antichrist as we know. Christians get it right. The antichrist is coming. I don't know if there's no such thing as one antichrist who will arise before the second coming. And according to that, y'all got to say that this this guy the antichrist. They said it when Barack Obama became president. Them Edomite Christians were saying, "Oh, this guy's the antichrist. He's the antichrist." So why ain't they calling this guy the antichrist? I should ask Chat. They see 70 AD as significant, but not the fulfillment of Paul's prophecy. Exactly, because Paul prophesied too. 2 Thessalonians 2, he's prophesying. Historical view interprets the man of lawlessness as a symbolic figure, often linked to corrupt religious or political systems, e.g., example given, the papacy and some Reformation views, which are Protestants. The fulfillment is seen as unfolding over centuries, not tied solely to 70 AD. Well, the falling away did come in 70 AD, but then Paul spoke about this time. Idealist view treats the passage as symbolic of ongoing spiritual conflict between good and evil, doesn't tie the text to a single historical event like 70 AD, but rather sees it as representing reoccurring patterns throughout church history. The falling away first is 70 AD. Even Yahushua prophesied 70 AD. When you shall see the abomination that maketh desolate enter into the holy place and flee into the mountains. Contextual clues in 2 Thessalonians 2, Paul says the day of the Lord won't come until the rebellion, apostasia occurs, when people fall off. The man of lawlessness is revealed, who exalts himself above all gods and makes a seat in God's temple. This seems to echo Daniel 11, verses 36 to 37. That was Epiphanes, where a king exalted himself against the Most High. Another reason some associated with an end time figure. We're almost finished. Was Paul writing with a near term event in mind, like 70 AD? Yes, he said the falling away first is 70 AD. But before 70 AD, there was going to be people that followed the Messiah that fell off too. Even among Paul's disciples, understudies, some of them fell off. A lot of them went back into the world. Or with a longer range eschatological event. He does say in verse 5, do you not remember that when I was still with you, I told you these things? Implying it was known teaching, like we teach you about the mark of the beast. There's going to be, here I go again, sound like a broken record. When the mark of the beast comes, it's going to be a game changer for the whole so-called Israelite community. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to, GMS was right. Possibly tied to eminent events, but he also describes the mystery of lawlessness as already at work. Yeah, because the Romans were in power. As a matter of fact, Nero was living at that time. And Nero signed off on his death. Though restrained, suggesting a future climactic appearance. Summary view. That's second Thessalonians 2:3 refers to 70 AD. Preterist. Yes, fulfilling the events. A preterist is also a what? Eschatologist. Yes, fulfilled in the events leading to the destruction of the temple, 70 AD. Futurists, we are futurists. We are futurists. We are also the Israelites are futurists. The One West Israelites are futurists and premillennialists. No refers to future antichrist or anti-Christians. Historicists, possibly beginning then but extending through history. Idealist, not a single event, symbol of ongoing rebellion against the Most High, so they don't know. Anyway, that's it on that. On to the next. Shalom.